Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Mustard Seed. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Jess.
Join us on our journey. So, it's Wednesday morning. You know what that means. I'm shaking the camera because there's a random setup here. The Mustard Seed production, we couldn't get together this week, but I thought me and my lovely wife, Jess, could do a video from home. We're going to talk about the three wise men, talk about our week, and our parenting, our sending Logan to school. We talked about this last week, and here we go. Let's dive into it. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll be back shooting normally in the next couple of weeks. We hope to do more things like this. Have Ryan and Veronica on and Josh and Claire do one, and just like introduce more people, the people that help our faith grow each and every day, and the people that help shape our children with the faith that through our journey, as we said in the beginning. So yeah, let's hop into it. Our first school goer was more emotional on us, I feel like, than him. He was just like, "See you, Mom," because you dropped him off. You got to do the send off.
It was pretty special. I was happy that I was able to take the half a day from work to bring him there. As a teacher, I'm not going to really be able to put him on the school bus for his first day of kindergarten because his first day will be my first day ultimately. So it was really nice to be able to bring him to his first day of preschool. But I was actually happy that I went with your dad, because I feel like with your dad there's no time for
sobbing.
The sob story. He's like, let's keep it moving. So it was really cute and sweet. I was able to get a little photo op with him, and he just seemed really excited to get going and start his day.
Yeah.
He's like, smell you later, Ma. I'm going to preschool, which is typical of our son Logan, which we really love him for that. Like, not smell you later, but like, we love that he's so confident in who he is, and he's not afraid to take up space. So
he's very confident in who he is, and one thing too, he got sick literally right after his first
not
day
even
of
24 hours after he left that place, he got sick, and
taking down our house. But that's how it goes, right?
That's how it goes. We knew it was going to happen, but like
not this fast.
Not like less than 24 hours after he got home. But
yeah,
he loved it, and he had so much fun, and he can't wait to go back. So that's all we can really ask for.
Yes, and the one thing he said to you today, he's sick and probably trying to get out of medicine.
Yeah,
but you can tell what he said.
So I said, Logan, do you think you need to go to the doctor? And he goes, no, Mommy, God's going to heal me. And I said, yes, you're right. God's going to heal you, because God is going to heal you. God designed our bodies in a magnificent way to heal ourselves. Can you imagine the more perfect creation?
And even at 3, he knows that, but he was probably trying to get out of taking Tylenol.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't want to take that Tylenol. He really doesn't like medicine.
Yeah. But that stems, I guess, is that hereditary?
I hated taking medicine.
You hate it now.
I remember literally running around my house. My mother had to chase me with medicine. So I understand him. I empathize with this child. So when I'm giving him medicine, I'm like, yeah, Logan, this isn't good. This isn't good. This medicine is yucky. And Andrew's like, why are you telling him that? Why are you telling him that? Because I agree with him. Medicine is yucky. Let's call it what it is.
It tastes like cherries. It's fine. It's not
tastes
like the old
cherries.
Day. Remember the old day? When we were children, the medicine had the spoon, right? You don't remember that spoon? Where it was a clear spoon and the medicine would go all the way back, and then you would almost like taking a shot.
No, I don't remember that spoon. I remember my
If you remember that spoon, hit it in the comments. But yeah, it was this plastic spoon that had the medicine. You would go in it and it would go all the way back.
Listen, I'm going to have to trust you on this one.
It tastes like bubble gum.
My mommy just put it in a tablespoon, and that's what I got.
Mary Poppins days.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So we wanted to talk about, if you can see our star in the back, that's the star that led the wise men to Jesus. And I was just going over it, thinking about it. I think me and Ryan touched on it a couple episodes ago. We talked about them a little bit. And just, they definitely, because they were rich people. They didn't travel alone on the camels. They definitely had a bunch of servants and stuff.
No,
there's no way that they just showed up, just them 3. So they definitely had a caravan of people. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing how, like, it didn't get out to where Jesus was because they wanted him dead, even
Right.
as an infant.
Right.
So it's
Exactly.
amazing, like, how he was protected. And we were reading and learning some stuff about the wise men, and the interesting fact is that the reason why they're called wise men is because of their, what are they? I can't say the word. Astronomy.
They're like it says they're astronomers / astrologers. So they had a lot of knowledge about the stars. So that's what led them to notice the Lord's star in the sky, and they were able to follow it to where he was ultimately.
And the magicians, they called them as well, which I
Magi.
thought was very interesting to learn, because you're told, the same story over and over again. Like, they went and just showed up and gave the gifts, the 3 gifts. But one thing I was thinking about too, like, we just had a baby, and that's a stressful time. Even like now, he's 3 months old. Even now, to pop in is stressful. To have someone come to where you
A
are
house
living.
disaster.
Yes. To have someone come. So imagine like how Mary and Joseph were feeling with these guys showing up with gifts, rich men, wealthy off men.
Well, it says something that I really didn't know until now, which I don't know if many of you guys know. Like, a lot of the classic nativity scene depicts the wise men showing up to the stable where Jesus was in the manger. And actually, in the Gospel of Matthew, where that's the place where the Magi are mentioned in the Gospel of Matthew. It says that they go to a house. So I would think that means a proper house. So they actually showed up to a house instead of the stable. Yeah.
Imagine for years for 2 months they were just living amongst
Right.
the animals.
We live here now. Yep.
Jesus is just like, I don't know if I pooped or if that sheep over there pooped. But think about it too, like, we're saying, like, sickness from going to school. Imagine living amongst the animals and being born in that. It's just crazy how, like, soft we've gotten through the time.
Well, I can't even imagine what it was like for Mary or any woman in that time to be pregnant, because your risk of developing, like, preeclampsia and all these things, I'm sure, were much greater, especially what time of year you're giving birth in. They don't have everything as climate controlled as we do in our hospitals and our homes and everything. So I'm sure a lot of women, unfortunately, passed away during childbirth.
Yeah, it's definitely hard.
So,
yeah, it's just interesting just to, like, find out, like, how it was a couple months later. And, like, in my mind, even growing up, I always thought it was, like, right away.
yeah.
Like, she just gave birth and she's like, whew. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we got these gifts for you.
Yeah. Well, something interesting that I always...
You think they held the baby?
I
They
don't
held
know.
baby Jesus?
I don't know. They certainly bowed down
Bopped
to
him
worship
around.
him. Yeah, bop him around. That's what I do with this kid, Elijah, our son. I just literally bop him around all day long. It keeps him happy, though. Something else that I thought was interesting, with the whole gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Myrrh is actually I don't know if it's the right word, incense or something used for the burial procedure. So imagine you have a little baby and you're given something. Imagine basically your baby's born and someone gives you, like, here, your child is born. Here, I'm going to purchase a cemetery plot for your child. Like, something like that. It's mind-boggling. But, Mary knew.
It was all, if you look at it and sit down and think about it, with everything from the Old Testament all the way up to Jesus preaching, is always a foreshadowing and a story. And that was, like, you're born, but the foreshadowing of, like, what is to come and what sacrifices he had to go forth for us.
Right. I mean, there's this graphic where it shows how the New Testament and the Old Testament are linked, and it literally looks like a rainbow. Like, there are so many parts of the New Testament that link back to the Old Testament, and it's just amazing. It's amazing how God has written his story.
Yeah.
So we can all see it
It is, like you said, just said, amazing how, like, you can, something like from the Old Testament where Jesus mirrors that.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably where the rainbow comes from, like the reflection in the mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else that I saw in my research that I thought was interesting. Matthew, coming from where he was a tax collector. I'm sure his mind was very much on establishing, because in the first section of Matthew, he's establishing the bloodline of how Jesus descended from Abraham, basically. Which Matthew was a tax collector. He was well off. He was wealthy. So in his gospel, he highlights the Magi, which we also call the three kings, basically. And in Luke's gospel, the Magi really aren't in there, but it's the angel that appears to the shepherds in the nearby fields. And to me, Luke was appealing more to the Gentiles. And that symbolizes that Jesus came for everybody, not just the noble, not just the wealthy, the royal. Jesus came for everybody to be saved, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
That's one thing about Luke. If you read a lot of Luke, he does reach out to a lot of the sinners and a lot of the people just to show, like, you can be saved. And that's one major thing, like, Luke does throughout his Gospels. And the difference, too, is with Matt, and we're just going to call Matt. With Matthew, he was a very smart man. He's organized, he had to be because he's a tax collector. So, like, he did bullet points. Boom, boom, boom. This is what Jesus did. This is what happened. Da, da, da. And which Matthew is one of my favorite Gospels, but I fall more towards Luke in a lot of things. And Luke does point out too, like he didn't really mention the wise men, correct?
I don't think so. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think he mentions the wise men. I think he's talking about the shepherds.
Mm-hmm. And then, so they had to probably interview Mary on this, like who Jesus, unless he remembered his birth and told the story. But yeah, that, which is amazing. They like sat down with Mary at one point and was talking to her and to get this story to everyone. Or maybe the three wise men actually did talk, and we give them more credit than they are supposed to get. Because the story got out there somehow where that we know it today and we're talking about it.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're watched this far, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out our links in the bio. We appreciate you guys watching us, and we'll be back to normal in a week or so. I have another podcast coming out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll go forward with things. I want to before we wrap up. There's one thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about, just the anxiety. Like, as a married couple, everyone goes through different situations, and there's a lot of stress involved in life, and sometimes one partner could be on the right head space, all things working, and then the other partner is suffering because they're, they're not turning away from God, but they're just like not embracing that feeling of God and just like everything's going to be okay and will be taken care of. And that's one major thing. Like, I feel like even us struggle from, just getting in your own head and just like the anxiety and the day-to-day stuff that just like can really tear you apart on the inside. And the strong suit is just like that hug, like we always say, like push me back together. Like, I love that. And that's also like I picture like Jesus hugging both of us together at that time, just to heal our hearts.
I always say that, like, getting a hug from him, he's like my charger. Like, I'm on my charger when I'm on him. First of all, we have two different love languages. I'm all about the hugs. I'm all about the love. I'm all about the... And he's just kind of like... He does wonderful things. He's very thoughtful. He's a gift giver. He loves to just shower people with gifts, which is lovely and wonderful. And name another man that's going to realize when, ladies, when you're running out of makeup wipes, name another man that's going to be like, oh, you ran out of makeup wipes? I picked up some makeup wipes from the store for you. Name another man who's going to fill up your water and make sure it's right there by the bedside table for you.
I'm sure there's a lot of great men watching our show.
Sure.
They will now. But,
No, yeah. But it's true. Like, daily life is stressful, and it's hard when we have different. We work in different fields. We're doing different things, and we come back to the same house with the same kids, and we have different stressors coming from different areas. And sometimes you're not on the right page. You're not on the same page. Mm-hmm. And like you've reminded me so many times, like. I've tried to handle things. I try to handle things on my own. And he's called me into, Jess, we have to pray together about it. We need to pray together. And that's the solution. And like you said before, us hugging and Jesus is right there with us. Our marriage is not just the two of us. There's three people in this marriage.
And it's all about learning as well. Mm-hmm. It's all about like learning and because think about we started dating when we were 17. We just turned 17.
We were babies.
Yeah, we were babies. But we grew up together, and we grew up. We learned. We're still learning, and you learn through parenting. You learn through marriage. You learn through it all. And
all the ups and downs. You learned a new lesson.
It's very important to just. Because when you get married in the church too, as well, you are taking on like Jesus and God and all that. But it's very important to learn from each other and to keep stress. I used to take work home with me where it would bother me so much and I couldn't function. And now I rarely do. Sometimes I do, but I try to just leave it at the door because I'm here to enjoy my family and we know it. We wake up super early. We wake up 4 a.m.
We don't have a normal schedule, I don't think.
We're exhausted when we get home. And then you get that guilt trip of, am I doing a good job for my children? And you are doing a good job for your children. You are there for them. You're present for them. You're listening to them. You take care of them. That is one thing. Like, you need to also check. You need to not bring that anxiety in. And we're guilty of that all the time, just feeling guilty of little things. And you just look at your children and see, like, how they're growing as a person. And think about that. Right? Like, when you told me before we did this and we shared with them of what Logan said, that really warmed my heart, saying, oh, we are doing a good job. Like, we're getting it across. We're not getting this at dinner, but we'll get there. We get it's like a wipe. You go whoop. We'll get the signs of the cross with him. But even from a young age with him, we told him where Jesus was in his heart, and yeah.
I think that because we're worried about if we're doing a good job, we probably are doing a good job.
Yeah.
So. Cut yourself some slack.
And one thing we did too, we both deleted TikTok.
Yes.
So that was a major step. We're watching some reels still here and there, but
I heard like the videos going from his phone. I was like, "What are you doing? I thought you deleted TikTok." He's like,
"But it's better because I feel like I'm a little less on it.
Oh yeah,
it's a little more time." And that's one thing me and Ryan always say is about unplugging, and Josh. Is about unplugging and just like trying to be present for your children. But there are times where you're just exhausted and it's not that bad to flip on Bluey or something like that.
Or like think about when the kids go to sleep. How many times when we like just sit down, we have time to actually spend together. We're just on separate sides of the couch, scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah.
Completely, maybe sending one across, actually texting each other.
In this generation, though, in this world, that back in the day, people would lay in bed or
With
whatever with the
magazines.
magazines. Which popping into my head is Christmas Vacation with the sap and the ripping, but
I love that scene.
but yeah, that is one like the difference of the.
But you want to know? I would love to do that.
They should do a movie where like something like because that is a normal thing.
But I
What,
would
you would
love
to watch.
I
read a
would
magazine?
love to go to bed at the same time
Oh.
in our bed, holding up a magazine and just sitting there. But I don't know if you guys also notice that. I feel like men and women just go to bed at different times. I feel like the woman always wants the man to go to bed at the same time as her.
Mm-hmm.
But the man's just like, no, I'm not going to bed yet. Like, he probably goes to bed 2 hours later than me every night.
Work days, I go
A little later than me. But I want to have the me laying up with the magazine. I want it.
You, me, and 2 kids in our bed.
True. Well, that's the reality. What we're going with right now. It's so funny. So funny.
Yeah.
It's special though.
She mentioned I'm a gift giver. We're at close to 200 subscribers. If you hit that 200 subscriber, we will send you a mustard seed water bottle.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there any songs that have hit home recently for you? Have you been listening to anything?
I haven't necessarily been doing my due diligence on that area. We've been listening to Christmas music a lot.
Christmas is slowly coming down.
What we've been listening to is all the theme songs from
yeah,
Logan's
so
favorite
Logan's
shows.
stuff.
We have a little dance. It's like when you're a parent, like all that stuff kind of goes out the window sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to fill your house with godly music. I think it's important to have that. It's like you're inviting the Holy Spirit into your home, and it's so important because I don't know. Do I talk about this? Is it too evangelical?
What?
There's just certain things that I feel like when you listen to music that is godly, you're inviting the Holy Spirit in.
We've said this before in the show
Right.
where like say you watch something like so horror or
Violent,
something, you're
like,
inviting
different types of spirits into your home, and you don't want that. You really don't. You just want your house to be peaceful and calm and just having the Lord dwell in your home like he should be.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, no, I definitely in the new year, I want to get back into my
we should all
new
do
music.
that one thing too that Josh was saying about the word and just like focusing on ourselves and healing, right? Listen.
I really liked what Josh said in that episode about how we make these resolutions and we say, oh, health is going to be my main focus. I don't know if he said this, but like for me, like losing weight is I've always struggled with my weight ever since I've been like a little girl. And like he said, getting to the root of that, like getting to the actual root, not just just getting to the root of why you're overeating. And I think a lot of it is definitely a spiritual battle. I do feel like for myself, especially when I have, when I get stress, which stress and anxiety does not come from God. It's opposite of what he wants for our life. That's an example of us letting things in. That's why it's really important for us to put on the full armor of God every single day.
Think about how stressful too. So many different stories in the Bible are, and Peter has the anxiety prayer as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is one I always try to fall back to.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the episode, last week's episode. We'll see what Josh was saying. See if you want to like follow that. Mine was for the Mets to win the World Series. So
Yeah. Hopefully that will happen for you. I'd be so happy if they won.
I think I'd cry. I think I'd be crying and just happy and have to take off a week of work because I'll go to every parade.
I know. You really would.
Yep.
That would be a wonderful thing for you.
It's one thing I want more in the world. Besides peace.
Besides world peace, of course.
Sorry, our
The Roomba.
the Roomba was about to go off. But maybe that's time for us to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be back to normal in a week. If you like this idea format, I'll get her on more. We can talk talk about things that happened in the week, talk about like stuff, and just how we are trying to bring God into our home. And I think it's working. Logan, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Do
Elijah
our
too,
best
yeah.
every day.
But yeah, try to get the boys to do something with their wives, huh?
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Next week we will do the regular draft. So yeah,
You didn't want to do a draft with me?
it's 2 people.
Oh, all right. We can't do that. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What about your dad joke? Do you have a dad joke?
Do you have a dad joke?
No. No dad joke.
I got there's 10 cats on a boat, one jumps off. How many are left? Think about it. 10 cats, one jumps off. How many are left? None, because they're all copycats. There's my dad joke for the day. Stay rooted in Christ. We appreciate you guys. Peace.
God bless you.